In this Grasshopper tutorial, we want to model this parametric building in Grasshopper, and as you can see, I can change these control points. This is going to update the form of the building, and we can change the count of these sections and also the degree, which we can change here. That's it. So we're going to model this from scratch. You can see that I can also change the point of rotation and make this smaller or bigger based on our project, and model this building in Grasshopper. Okay, let's get started from scratch. But before we start, if you're new to our channel, welcome. Consider subscribing, and you can watch this tutorial up here, which is about Grasshopper and why you should learn it. You can also take a look at our course, which is more advanced and more examples and lessons, which you can learn from the Para course. I'm going to put up the video up here. You can check out the playlist. Okay, let's get started from scratch. What I want to do here is let's talk about the algorithm, especially if I move this a little bit far. Okay. The most important thing is that we need a curve. So what I will do is to make a curve. Then I'm going to use this Anemone plugin. Let me just put the bifocals plugin. Anemone plugin to make these curves around the center. We're going to offset them. We're going to use a technique to make a loft on these, and also another technique to model the sections. As you can see here, we can also have them here. We have the roof sections, and finally we're going to reach that visualization in Grasshopper for the windows and the buildings. So first of all, we have to make this curve and make a copy of this. I'm going to explain the steps in the Anemone plugin, so be sure to install it. We will have this let me put this Anemone plugin here. Okay, we have lots of plugin installed. Here you can see that we have the Anemone plugin, and we're going to use this fast because we want to see the results as soon as we change the number sliders. So we want to use that for the algorithm. Okay, let's just make this a parametric curve in Grasshopper. So I'm going to go to the params menu and use this point. So let's just put this in the bifocals plugin. Okay, in the front view, I'm going to draw the base curve. So I'm going to say set multiple curves and go for this one. Maybe we just want to make this as the base curve of the building. We're going to model the next parts as we go forward. So I'm going to go to the curve and use this interpolation to interpolate these curves together, these points together, and make the parametric curve possible. The next part is to make this a complete building. So if you want to make this curve around an axis, we have to make a point for the axis also. So let's just make this with params a point, and I'm going to set this point and put it here. Based on the project, we want to move this and make it near or forward. Remember, if you put it too much inside, this is going to collapse the building, so be sure to put it outside the building. Okay, now we have to play with some of these points here to make the building. First of all, we have to use this 2 points to make the third point. Let me just put it as blue, and that's using the xy of this. That's going to be the x and y of this point and the z of this point, right? We'll make this point. That is the reason we want to connect them together to make this closed surface for the windows. And we are going to also use this point for the Anemone because we want to also project that point up, so we have the correct point. We just defined a simple point here, but look at this from the front. The height is different, so we will have some problems there. Let's just do that. We're going to say go to the Anemone plugin and use this step by step, which I'm going to explain here. Anemone plugin, and I'm going to use this fast loop and then start. So let's just do that and start. You have to connect at the top, and the input here is going to be the curve. So I'm going to input the curve and name these curves. That is the reason I'm doing this, is that you can understand this better. So let's just do that. Okay. We have to bring that curve inside, and what's going to happen here is to rotate it step by step. So I'm going to rotate this and make a surface from this. And also, while I'm rotating this, we have to offset it up and down. So we're going to do that too. First of all, let's just bring a curve and connect it to the output here. And I'm going to first of all rotate this curve. Okay, now what we want to do here is to rotate this curve. So I'm going to say rotate 3D, and I'm going to rotate this curve. The center of rotation is going to be this point, so let's just give that to the center of rotation. That's it. The axis is the Z, and the angle can be in degrees. Okay, how much degree do we want to rotate it? Assume that we want the building to be like from 90 degrees to 270 degrees with 2 decimal points. This is the final rotation, right? The steps, maybe we want from 3 to 20. So this is going to be the steps of the building. I'm going to put that here. And for that, we have to divide this. So I'm going to divide 90 degrees to 3 and produce that 30 degrees. So if I give that to the angle, you can see that this is rotating. The next step is to make a surface from this. So I'm going to go to the surface, freeform, and use this revolution. So I'm going to use that revolution here. The curve we want to revolve. The axis is actually an axis like this. We can make it by going to the curve and using this line STL. Start, the direction is by default Z, that's fine, and the length is actually 1. That's okay. We're going to give that to the axis, and here we have to give it a domain. So how can we find the domain? It's going to be from 0. You can see actually this is in radians, and we can't change it like this to degrees. So I'm going to use a radians here. I'm going to say radians, give it here to this domain. And if I give it to this, it's going to say from 0 to that degree. And you can see that we have this curve actually at the end. We have the surface. And to have the surface, I'm going to just give it an output and name it to surface here. We can also name this one to surface to know that we are doing this as a surface, and give that output to this surface. It's going to just double click here, and we have to also give it a curve exit. So just for the case, I want to show you that there's not a problem with the loop, and that's okay. So that's also the next step we have to make. Okay, the next step is to bring that curve a little bit down. Instead of giving this curve to the output, we're going to offset that curve. Maybe we can use this offset. There is 2 offsets we can use by the default of the Grasshopper. It's offset curve or offset curve loose. You can also find it in the curve utility. Here we go. We have this offset curve. We have this offset also curve loose, and we're going to make that. So let's just make that offset curve. I'm going to give that to the distance. Now what we want to do is to also connect this curve to the plane, so it's always in the correct direction. And in the distance, I'm going to name it expression minus x, so it's inwards. Now we can also define an offset, so I'm going to name this the offset count offset and give that to this distance. Now, if I give that to the output, it's going to make this curve the second. So it's going to go inside the curve, go back here. Again, it's going to revolve it. And then it's going to also make the surface. Okay, let's just give this the number of count. Here is iteration. We have to go also here, right click and set the record data. And here you can see that we can make the steps. Let's just turn everything off. Connect a surface to this surface. This is the surface. And connect a curve to the curve here. We also need the base curve here, so why not just make another curve here and give the roll curve here, and remember to add also at the start. So this is going to give you also another recording of the curves. So these are the two set of curves we need. This is the surface. Okay, let's just go to the top. Assume that we want a 90 degrees for the final rotation. You can see that this is not 90 degrees. The reason here is that this step has to be one less. So I'm going to go to the iteration and put it like x minus 1. And you can see that this is like 90 degrees. And now we can control that, increase the steps. Okay, there's a problem. We have to check that out. Okay, the offset is too much. So remember that you have to control the offset of this. Because if you put it too much, it's going to break out the surfaces like that. There's also another problem with this offset curve. We can use the loose offset curve. So I'm going to use this offset curve loose. Okay, let's also make the windows here. So I'm going to go take the main curve. Let's put it in a container, a curve container, and bring it forward. We have to convert that into a window. So what we want to do here is to make a line here and connect it from top to bottom to make the main surface. Okay, let's go to the curve, use this endpoints at the start and the end. I'm going to bring that start, the end, project that on the ground. So again, I'm going to use this project plane, project that on the plane of the start. So it's actually going to project that down into this base plane, and at the end we're going to connect that with a line. So I'm going to go to the curve and use this line to connect this projection to the start, I guess. Okay, that's it. Then I'm going to also draw another line, connect the end to the projection. That's it. And now we can also put the container in a curve and put it down right here. Now we have the curve, the lines, and we can connect them together. So I'm going to go to the curve and use this join curve to join them together with the shift key. And if I connect a surface to this, you can see that this is going to be the window, and we can have the window right at the start. At the end, it's going to also be the same. So what we have done with this curve, it's going to go also down to this curve. So let's just pick that up. I'm going to go to list item and pick up from, let's check out which curve is this. Nope. This curves, I guess. Yes. Bring it to the list item. Remember, you have to flatten, because you have to have all of those curves in one group and pick up the first one. If you don't know about flatten or graft, check out this video up here. We're going to talk about that later. So now we have this first curve here. Let's just reverse the list. So we have to also reverse it. I'm going to use a reverse list. To fix that, we have to also flatten the input of the reverse. Then just pick that up. Okay, let me explain. We flatten the curve, we reverse the list, and then pick up the first one. So this is going to give us the last one. That's going to actually be the same for this. Let me make this a group so you can also use that. You can also download this example file from our website. So I'm going to also give this here. And now you can see that we have this window at the end and we're good to go. The last part is to also put these down. So how can we fix that? That's going to be with, I guess that we're going to work with the surfaces. Okay. Let's pick up this edge and project it on the ground and then extrude that. So we're going to go to the surface, deconstruct erep, and list item to pick up the edges. You can see that each of them has 4 edges. So the first edge is going to be like here. The second edge is going to be here, and this is going to be the third edge, obviously. So we need to again project that on the ground. Remember, the ground is going to be the first point we have defined. So I'm going to go here, pick up the first point and give that as the plane, because we want to put it on the ground and it has to be on the ground. Okay, you can see it's actually from the top a complete arc. So I'm going to just make a loft from these edges to their projection, and that's going to give us these bodies. Okay, that's it. That's how we can make it. Let's just give that some colors if you wanted to see, or we can just bake that. First, let's play with this. For example, we can change the final rotation. We can change the steps. Remember that too much steps is going to break out the offset. So be sure to, if you want to do that, decrease the offset so it means something. Too much offset is going to bring that down on the ground. So remember that you have to give it a reasonable amount based on your project. And then we can also play with these points. Let's just turn them on. This point is going to give you more control of the building. This point is going to give you some sections. For example, we want to make it like this, a new form. So you can play also with these points. That's it. And now you can also give that some custom preview. So I'm going to give that custom preview to the window. To here, to the connection, and to the roof. So that is just giving you an overview of what we have modeled here. If you want to make the windows on this surface, it's going to be a little bit of a tricky step. It's going to take a while. So I'm just going to put that in another example file. You can download that and take a look. But for now, this is going to give you the parametric building, the basics, and how you can model it in Grasshopper. Okay, thanks for watching. Remember to like this video so it can reach more people, share it, and also subscribe to our channel so you can get notified. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.